Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Hashim. You're watching another Pushing Film live stream. This one is a bit of an update stream just to have a casual chat with you guys and do a bit of an update. Just got back from holiday, about 35 days overseas, as you may know if you've been following the channel. But yeah, I'll just give a few moments for people to jump on while I have some coffee. Yeah, I hope you're all doing well. Let me know if you can hear me all right. And it's been a while. Anything you have seen on the channel in terms of videos was probably scheduled from beforehand. So there were two videos that I scheduled before leaving in the middle of May. So we left around the 15th of May. And then there was a couple of live streams. One was on this channel, and there were probably another two on my personal channel. And yeah, even those were a little bit difficult to keep up with. I wanted to do even more live streams over on the personal channel, but you know, when you're traveling and you've got a really full itinerary, it's pretty hard to keep up with. But I'm glad I got to do a few live streams while over there. It was pretty fun. You know, I did them from the locations we were staying at. One was from Greece, one was from Turkey, and I think I might have done one from Lebanon. Now I can't remember. But yeah, towards Lebanon and Italy, towards the end of the trip, that's when things started to get really busy. But yeah, it's good to be back. I'll tell you, it's good to be back to the cold weather. As you may know, it's winter here in the southern hemisphere, but we were traveling to the Middle East and Europe where it was summer and it was quite humid in those regions around the Mediterranean where we were mainly stationed. But just to give a summary, it was an amazing trip and it's good to be back, and we're back safe and sound, and that's the important thing. And I hope you're all doing well. I hope everyone is, safe if they're traveling too, or having a good time back home, wherever that might be. So let's have a look at some of the chat here. We've got Dave Nelson already from beforehand. You're probably speaking about the thumbnail where I put up a photo of all the film that I shot, and I'll talk a little bit more about that soon. And yes, there's a lot of film to develop from this trip. I've already started. I've started on the black and white myself. Junichi, hi, how's it going? Thanks for joining. Dave, he's really alive. I am alive and kicking indeed. Russtown Media, hey bro, greetings from Roswell. Thanks for joining. Greetings. And Asela, hey man, good to be back. Yeah, we should catch up soon. On that topic, anyone who's in Melbourne, I'm going to try and organize a meetup soon, and I think I'm going to call it a coffee and cameras to be very original. No, not really. I know it's probably overdone, but I thought it'd be cool to give it a bit of a theme. You know, it's winter, it's cold. We can get together and do some manual brew coffee if you're into that. Otherwise, you can just bring whatever drinks or snacks you're into, tea, whatever, and we can just sit in a park somewhere. And we're looking at a couple of Saturdays from now. So I think it's Saturday the 9th of July in Melbourne. Still pending, the dates to be confirmed. We're just trying to see who's free that day. And yeah, location to be confirmed as well. So in case you're interested, in case you're in Melbourne, whether you're watching this live or later on, keep that in mind. Jump on the Discord server if you're a member there. If you're not, maybe join if you're into that thing. And that's where we're trying to organize the final date, time, location, and so on. But yeah, coffee and cameras makes a good photographic subject. Grinding and brewing coffee or whatever, kind of like a picnic, but talking about cameras. We can walk around and shoot as well. So, Dave. Oh, you got the zine, and yeah, that's right. Really impressed with the quality of paper stock. Thanks, man. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, I did a bit of research and trial and error into that particular printer, and I was quite happy with what I got in the end. Very classy. Thanks. Coffee and a roll of film. Yeah. At the moment, it's coffee and dark chocolate. One of my favorite combos. Anyway, what's everyone been up to? Has anyone else been traveling? Let me know. Keen to hear where you've been. I've been seeing some cool photos online from some of the people that I follow on Instagram, for example. But yeah, what I wanted to touch on, or go into a little bit more deeply was traveling with film, because I know that's on a lot of people's minds lately. The world's opening back up, people are starting to travel again, and a lot of us film shooters want to take our film cameras with us, and we're kind of concerned with things like x-rays and all that. So I'll get into that, and if you have questions, feel free to leave them in the live chat or in the comments if you're watching this later on. Hey Asher, thanks for joining, man. Yeah, it was really good. It was really nice to see some of my family overseas, for sure. It was a bit transformational. Still adjusting, still absorbing it all. You know, if you get back from a long holiday, you kind of need this time to readjust to home life, and it feels like a bit of a dream still. And with the jet lag, it's been a bit tricky for me getting back to normal sleeping patterns. And for that reason, even though we got back almost a week ago now, it's actually been since Monday night, Tuesday, today's Sunday afternoon here in Melbourne, it doesn't feel like I'm really back. I haven't really adjusted back to normal routine and sleeping patterns and all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't really feel like being completely back home yet, but it's getting there. And yeah, I need time to kind of gather some of the thoughts and make some content, hopefully, for the channel soon. Day of 34 degrees here, not winter. Yeah. I love the cold, so next time Sarah and I both agreed that we should travel in winter. Did I shoot all the rolls I traveled with? Was I worried about running out? So I didn't shoot all the rolls I traveled with, and I wasn't worried about running out for a couple of reasons. I bought more film than I thought I would need. So I bought about 60 rolls, 65 rolls maybe, and I accounted to shoot up to 2 per day that way. But I know that on average I shoot 1 or maybe 2 on average. Some days I might shoot 3 or 4, but then some days it's pretty quiet and only shoot like half roll. So in the end, I shot about 43 rolls, 44 rolls maybe, and that was perfect. I had a bit left over. I would have liked to have shot more, but at the same time, developing will be very expensive, as you can imagine. I also bought a digital camera, and I used that for a lot of the time, actually. Sometimes I would walk out with just the digital camera, especially if it's a low light situation, going out in the evening, going out at nighttime. Sometimes I'd bring a film camera or maybe a camera and a tripod, but a lot of the time I would just bring the X100V and use that. And even during the daytime, I would sometimes switch to the X100 if it was a really fast-paced street photography situation where I wanted to really blast away on a lot of shots and have that freedom. I would shoot digital, which actually offset a lot of the potential film I would have shot. Judging by some of my previous travels where I've shot only film, if I didn't bring a digital camera, I probably could have shot double at least what I did on this trip. But then I did fall back on the digital camera a lot, therefore, halving the cost of film and the processing. So yeah, that's the answer to that. I didn't run out of film. Bought my third system, Olympus EM. Oh, cool. Yeah, nice. They're good cameras. Shots by Jeremy. Hey, come up to Bendigo. I'll shout you coffee, some film from my work, some dark chocolate. Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, it's weird that I go up to Bendigo. It's pretty far from here, but one day, hopefully. I know there's a bit of a film scene growing up there with the lab and all, and you can develop it. Yeah, that's actually, I'm looking at some options because I've got a bit of an advantage, obviously, running this channel. I wouldn't say it's an unfair advantage, but I do have a lot of connections with the industry and local labs and all that. So I have had some preliminary chats with Open Lab. I actually did a little Instagram live talking about all the film that I shot and how expensive it's going to be and going through some solutions for all that. So what I decided, and I'd already decided, for example, that I'm going to develop all my own black and white because that is fairly cheap. I already have HD 110. There's next to no cost for me out of pocket for developing and scanning all my own black and white. I do it on the DSLR camera scanning rig back there. And I've already started doing that. I've already started to develop and scan all my own black and white. Black and white made up about 10 to 15 rolls out of the total that I shot. C41 made up the majority, so about 25 rolls of C41, 26 maybe. And that's going to be the most costly if I was to take it straight to a lab like, for example, I normally go to Halide Supply, $14 a roll, develop and scan, high res. That would build up. It's not too bad in the grand scheme of things, but having just come back from holiday, I'm pretty much broke. I don't have the money, so I want to try and save as much as I can. And on this live stream on Instagram, I spoke to some of the people there about how I've been thinking about going to Open Lab for a while. Open Lab is a self-service type lab here in Melbourne that opened up not too long ago, last year, I think. And they provide a developing service, but they also allow you to come in and develop your own film at a membership cost and then a cost per session or roll or whatever it is. And then also allow you to do your own scanning, which is a huge advantage. I used to use the self-scanning service way back at Film Never Die to use their Frontier SP500s and scan a lot of my own film. I scanned all the film that I shot coming back from holidays in 2017, 2018, for example, and I love scanning my own work on a Frontier. It's even better than scanning your own stuff on a DSLR because you have the Frontier colors, you have the speed, and you have your control over your own colors, which is really cool. I don't know if I already said that, but yeah. So that's what I was discussing doing, and I actually got a message from one of the guys at Open Lab, and we're having a bit of a chat currently on Instagram about maybe doing a collaboration. I wouldn't, be looking to get free development or anything like that, but maybe if we can negotiate some kind of discount and I can do a video about their business or something like that, just to keep it kind of collaborative like that and mutually beneficial. I am thinking of doing that because that would be cool. It's not going to really save a whole bunch of money, but it will save some, and it will also allow me to do my own scanning with the Frontier colors, which I do like. There is a little bit of an advantage to doing DSLR scanning, but I do like Frontier colors if you have access to one. So that's the current stance with developing, but I'm not sure. I am considering maybe just taking it straight to a lab or maybe even doing some of my own color. I don't know. X100 is only classic digital, exceptional lens. Yep. I really enjoyed using the X100V actually. More than I thought I would. But in the end, I still enjoyed using the Leica more for that type of 35mm street experience. There's just something about rangefinders that suits my shooting style more in terms of focusing with a rangefinder, zone focusing. And even in terms of the shots, I shot film and digital side by side with a few scenes, and I have already seen some of those results from both sides, and I preferred the film, which I wasn't doubting that I would. Rusttown, you spent $300 developing film last month. You need to learn how to develop. Yeah, see, with developing color, especially when you have a lot, like let's say I have 25 rolls or so, color chemistry isn't as cheap as black and white, and it doesn't last as long. And I find that developing color is more time consuming. I don't know why. It shouldn't be, really. Maybe because I don't do it as often. I don't have as quick of a workflow. But it's also because scanning takes longer, getting the colors right. I mean, it's not too bad with Negative Lab Pro, but it still obviously takes longer than doing black and white. So with all that said, the cost of chemistry for doing C41, I don't find that the cost and time savings are as good. Sure, I still do it, especially if I'm shooting cinema film and there's no other option. But with batch rolls, I prefer to take it to a lab because labs tend to have a good price for C41 and not so much for black and white. So it kind of works out. So I probably will, also to answer this question, take all my color film to a lab, whether it's somewhere like Open Lab and I use the machinery and do it myself, or if I get them to do it, or whatever lab to do it. That's going to be the most likely option. I also shot 3 rolls of slide film, so I still need to figure out where to take them. Can I write off the film and developing as a business expense? Perhaps. I've never really done it. I know I probably can look into it as maybe part of YouTube as a business. I don't know. As a photographer also, I sometimes claim, obviously I claim cameras and things that I buy that are very clear cut and easy to kind of prove on a tax return. But yeah, developing, actually I have claimed that as well, especially if I've done photo shoots where I've invoiced for the film and processing. If I haven't invoiced for it, I think it's a little bit more gray. I'm not an accountant. It'd be good to have an accountant, but yeah, I don't always do all of it because obviously a lot of it is for my own personal use, and yeah. Alan, a few years back, you bought a Noritsu LS600. You know what? I actually came close to doing that back in 2018 because back then they were still going for about 1,000 Australian dollars shipped from LA somewhere. And I don't know why. In the end, I didn't do it. I just didn't have the money, I think. Now they're way more expensive. Write off travel expenses. Yeah, it's a gray area. I mean, you need to be able to prove that you're using that travel expense for your income, which, yeah, I'm not entirely doing that, but in some ways, maybe. Dusty, you scaled back C41, decided to send it away since you never shoot enough to use your chemistry before it expires. Yeah, that's part of the problem I have. I need to be shooting a bunch of cinema film, for example, and then to actually do it all within that few months that the chemistry lasts for. And then towards the end of the chemistry, you sometimes get inconsistencies, or if you accidentally overdevelop a little bit, C41 is a little bit more finicky. And it tends to be that labs will do C41 develop and scan fairly cheap, especially here in Melbourne. We're pretty lucky. We have labs that really kind of compete with each other, and the average price is between I don't know, $12 and $20 Australian per roll, which is, I don't know, 8 to 10 US dollars for anyone from overseas, which includes scans, and it's not bad. So if you think about the cost of chemistry and the time you take to do C41 and scan it, yeah, I wouldn't always do my own color unless I had some machinery or cheap access to chemicals, maybe. You managed a lab, don't bother developing at home. You never seen a result that comes close to a pro. Yeah, that's fair. I used to work at a place that had a pro lab attached to it as well, and they had a dip and dunk processor for C41. And there's something of an advantage that I definitely saw when something's done on very tightly controlled dip and dunk processing with refreshed chemistry and all that kind of stuff. Double, please do the live stream more often. Yeah, I want to. Now that I'm back, I enjoy doing these live streams. Actually, Sarah was meant to join for this. I even have a chair set up, but then she had to bail at the last minute because she did a wedding yesterday. She was super tired and not really feeling up for it, which is fair enough. Referring to black and white, have I ever used coffee for developing? No. I've never done caffeinol or anything. I'm not really into that. I like having the optimal results for my black and white. If I ever did it, it would be just for experimentation reasons, but guilt of knowing chemicals are going bad while you put it off. Yeah. See, I have a batch that would have gone bad while I was traveling. I mean, it might still be all right, but the fact that I was away I haven't used it for 2 months since the last time I used it was 2 months ago. I don't trust it anymore unless it was a roll that I wasn't, putting any importance in. It probably would still develop. I just don't think it would be optimal anymore because I bought it probably 4 months ago. I started using it. So that's what happens. Yeah, those Noritsu 600s, it's crazy. It's not worth it. I mean, if you're going to pay 5,000, you might as well get a really high-end DSLR scanning setup because then you have more versatility. Would I do it myself if I had something like a Jobo? Maybe. Still, the cost of chemistry. I mean, a Jobo uses less, which is good, but C41, it goes bad quickly. I use HC110, for example, black and white. Lasts forever, never goes bad. So it's a big difference. Same thing with Filmomat. It's a big investment. And, if I can get a lab to do C41, even if it's on a roller transport machine, more often than not, they charge 8 Australian dollars a roll maybe for develop only and leaving it uncut. And then I could scan myself, which I don't mind. And that's still probably not much difference compared to the cost of chemistry per roll. Maybe you pay $5 per roll in chemistry, but still you spend a lot of time. Thoughts on the Lindt lightly salted dark chocolate? I don't know if I've tried that yet. It would be good. I can imagine that would be really good. You know, I'm a big fan of dark chocolate, and I'm actually thinking of doing a video on it on my personal channel. If anyone here is interested, I have a personal channel that I started not long ago, and over there I just talk about anything. Could be digital photography stuff. I have a video on making coffee. I could do a video comparing dark chocolates, which I'm actually going to do at some point soon, because I'm always trying to find like the best kind of supermarket level dark chocolate, because I eat it every day pretty much. Same with coffee. I have coffee every day. So I just talk about anything on that channel. And the link for it is in the description of this video if you're interested. Josh, compare it with the results and price. Yeah, if you did a breakdown, you'd see that there's probably not a huge difference when it comes to color. Yeah, see, I'm not great at tax, and there probably is a loophole, and not even a loophole, but something within the Australian tax law that says you can just claim it all. I probably need to hire someone. If you have 25 rolls, 2 packs of 1 litre C41 should be able to develop these rolls in good quality. Yeah, so for example here, the cost of a 1 litre Tetanol kit is about 80 Australian dollars. Let me check that actually, because it always goes up. It used to be about 50 to 60 Australian dollars. Now it's more. Last time I bought it was from Vanbar. So if you consider 2 packs of that, they even do a 2 litre kit though. Yeah, $80, $81.90 for a 1 litre kit, decisive moment. Vanbar, 75 at some places. So even if you get a 2 litre kit, let's see. Yeah, let's just say 150, 160 or whatever. For 25 rolls, yeah. If you get develop only somewhere, it's not much of a saving. And the amount of time you'll spend developing 25 rolls of color, it's a lot, especially if you're doing it in a hand tank. So that's what I mean. It's maybe it's because we live down here and things aren't as cheap as they are in the US. But yeah, a 2.5 litre kit of Tetanol is 143. So that's not bad. You definitely could do 25 rolls with that. Yeah, just about 25 rolls. Usually they recommend 1 litre to do, I don't know, like 10 to 20 rolls, depending how much you want to stretch it. So that's about the sweet spot. But yeah, you get dev only at a lab and it's just done and sleeved and uncut, ready to go. I can't see myself doing it for batch amounts. I only use it occasionally when I do cinema film. Going back to black and white film, loving it. Yeah, I think you mentioned this, Dave, on some other channel somewhere. Good to hear. Which would I recommend for film scanning? On a full frame camera, I use a 100mm, so I tend to recommend a 100mm. And that's ideal, especially for 35mm film scanning. But if you're going to do 120, 70mm would work fine as well. But even with my 100mm, I can do 120. I just have to move the camera up higher. So if you had to choose one, I would choose the 105mm on full frame. If you're on a crop camera, then I would say 70mm. But on full frame, I would just say go 100mm. But 70 will probably work too. It just means that if you get really close, you have to make sure it has enough minimal focal distance to fill the frame with a 35mm film frame, if that makes sense. So they're still teaching it in your uni. That's cool. Yeah, I wish my university still did film stuff and darkroom. They did it. They just jumped on digital when I went to uni around 2006, 2007. It was kind of when digital was the new cool thing that was taking over, and everyone thought film was dead, unfortunately. And my university wasn't the best for arts and stuff, I don't think. Olympus 60mm is great for camera scanning. Yeah, on an Olympus, it would be not a full frame though, so. Yeah, caught up on the chat. Cool. All right. What else was I going to talk about? Was anyone here on the Instagram live stream that I did? I'm guessing not many, because I did that at a time that was more suitable for Aussie audiences, whereas this is a little bit more of a worldwide time, hopefully. And over there, I spoke a lot about X-rays because people wanted to know about traveling with film and X-rays and how many X-rays did I go through with the 60 rolls that I took with me. And I actually did a tally, and the total amount of X-rays we passed through was 17, roughly. I might have, miscounted by one or two, give or take. But yeah, 17 X-rays. And I even had a roll developed and scanned twice throughout the trip towards the end, just to kind of see how everything was going, to see that the cameras were still working and that if there was any X-ray damage or anything after this, let's say 12, 13 passes at those points. And both those test rolls came out fine. And now having come back with 17 passes, I can only assume everything is still fine now, because Sarah took some of her film. She had 400 speed stuff that was fine. We went through the same amount of X-rays. I've developed a bunch of my black and white already. And after 17 X-ray passes, all that is fine. So yeah, the lesson that I can probably pass on, up to you whether you want to take it or not, is traveling with film is fine if you don't check it into your checked luggage. If you take it carry-on through the modern X-rays that say that they're film safe, which is the majority of them, you'll be fine. However, I know everyone's going to jump on this straight away, is that there's the CT scanners that are coming out now, apparently. I didn't go through any of those as far as I know. So I have heard that they can cause issues a lot more easily than traditional X-ray scanners at airports. But again, I did not go through any of those as far as I know. So I'm only speaking of the common, conveyor belt X-ray things that they use at the majority of airports. And I'm talking about leaving Australia, going through Singapore, Istanbul, Antalya, Cappadocia, various airports in Italy, for example. We went through Naples airport, Lebanon, even with their slightly older machinery, going through twice, no issues there. So, and even in Turkey, sometimes, for example, in tourist sites, you would have to go through an X-ray just to go into some kind of shopping center or tourist site. You might notice this in some countries. Some airports, we had to go through the X-rays twice, or they pass it through a single machine twice because they notice the camera and they want to take it out and scan it again. And yeah, it did build up, but then there was still no issues. So I can only speak from my experience, and I've had the same experience in the past traveling. Even when we went to Bangladesh, Nepal, some of the machinery was a bit older and there were still no X-ray issues after about 10 passes. But I know that some people have had issues. I know that there's all these CT scanners, so take that information, use it as you want. Just don't check your film into your checked luggage, though. Dave, you caught the stream in Turkey. Cool. Yeah, that was fun. That was on a rooftop having Turkish coffee. Yeah, that's what it was like when digital first came out. Would I try new film? Sure, I would. Depends what it is. Over 82, just got back. You went to France and Belgium. Cool. They would not hand check my film in Paris, but it was not the new CT scanners, so fingers crossed. Yeah, I think you'll be fine, man. That's the thing. Where we were traveling, sometimes the airports were extremely busy. The staff were just not having it. They were just pushing people through. They would not have hand checked. And even the one time that I did attempt to hand check just one bag, I had set aside one bag with high speed stuff. It was a whole conversation, and even after they reluctantly did it, the lady on the other side at Melbourne Airport said, you didn't need to do that. All the professionals come through here and they never get their film checked. It doesn't affect it. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I had some T-Max 3200 in this bag and whatever. And I wasn't too worried about that, to be honest, but I wanted to kind of at least see how easy hand checking would be. And it's not easy depending on the airport and how busy they are. So it's really up to you. And when you have 60 rolls, they're less likely to do it than if you have like one bag with 10 rolls in it or something, especially when I have 60 rolls and Sarah has whatever 20, 30 rolls. So yeah, we gave up on getting hand checks very early, especially when we got to the busy airports. It was just too much hassle for us, and it would have been for the people, even if they were willing to do it. Transporting film is like smuggling drugs. It feels like that sometimes. You got some went through strong scanners. Which strong scanners? As in checked luggage, or was it just one of these new CT scanners that I've never seen? X-rays give film extra tones. Yeah, I mean, I think what it can actually do sometimes is it just lightly fogs the film or flashes it. Some people actually do that intentionally to get less contrast. But what you don't want is the wave patterns that come up on properly damaged X-ray damaged film. I think Melbourne has CT in the international terminal now. They were happy to hand check my film there last time. Interesting, because we went through the international terminal. We left out of the international terminal. So I don't know. It didn't seem like any different than the usual scanners that we went through. It was like a conveyor belt, and it said it was film safe. And it went through it. So was that CT? I don't know. It didn't seem like it was overly different or new, so maybe it wasn't CT scanner, but it was the international terminal. Have I tried infrared film? No, I haven't. So you went through the new CT scanners, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've even heard of people going through them and not having issues, but yeah, so here's the thing about using a lead bag is that they can probably just crank up the X-ray machine even harder to see through the lead bags. X-rays are powerful. A lead bag won't stop them if they want to do that. So it's not a fail-safe to use a lead bag. Maybe back in the day it was, because it was kind of a bit of a shift after security and the war on terror and everything changed. Now they see a lead bag, it makes them more suspicious sometimes. So I wouldn't really recommend doing that thinking it's a fail-safe. Sure, they might just like not notice it and let it through. Sure, they might want to hand inspect it, or they might just open it up and pass it through, without the bag. Or they could crank up the machine to see through the lead, because I'm pretty sure that can be done as well. I'm not, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I've heard. So these days, you don't want to make them more suspicious. Yeah, Alan, that's what I've heard. Again, I've never worked at an airport. I don't know for sure, but I don't think it's a foolproof way to get your film through anymore. Is it safe to mail the film back instead? Yeah, I mean, you can do that. But again, I've traveled a lot and gone through a lot of X-rays, and I've still yet to see any issues. I think that the majority of time people have issues, they have probably forgotten film in their suitcase, in their checked luggage. That's just my opinion. But I don't know. Think fast, long time since live stream. Yeah, it's been a while. I've been traveling, so just got back. And yeah, mailing can be expensive. That's true. I would recommend if you can just get the film developed in one of your destinations. If you want to go through less X-rays, if you're actually really worried about it, just do that. I, for example, had one roll done in Italy at a lab called PhotoFast. They were really good, great quality scans, and fast turnaround. But I couldn't afford to get much of my film developed during the trip, so I didn't. I only had one roll done as a test. But in the past, I've done that. I've had a bunch of film developed while in Japan, for example, where there's plenty of labs. Just got low-res proof scans and then brought the negatives back. Once they're developed, the X-rays can't affect them anyway. You mail your film to a lab domestically. Yeah, a lot of people do that. I've never been one to mail my film because I don't know about, depends where you live, but mailing parcels here in Australia costs a lot. So you end up paying, a lot more than you otherwise would have. And I just don't trust it 100%. I always feel better handing my film to a lab in person, knowing that it's gotten there. I've had friends who've mailed stuff and it's gotten lost. I know it's rare, and have mailed stuff before, don't get me wrong, but I don't do it regularly. I only do it if I have to. FedEx tried to charge 120 euros to ship my film. Yeah, see, that's crazy. But yeah, X-ray won't damage developed film. Totally insane. Yep. I wouldn't pay that. I would rather just risk the X-rays because from my experience, carry-on X-rays don't cause anything. Especially if you shoot lower speed stuff. I intentionally just took lower speed stuff, 100, 200, so low to medium speed. A couple of rolls of 400 here and there. And I even had one roll of 800 and maybe one or two 800 or 3200. I had T-Max, but I didn't end up using it. But even that I've done before and it hasn't been affected. T-Max is technically 8 or 1000 ISO sensitivity anyway. Never get developed in third world countries. Crap chemistry. That can be true, yeah. Higher tendency for the chemistry to be old, for the machines to be less maintained, not cleaned as often. I actually had one roll done in Lebanon as a test. I kind of regretted it because the negatives came out a little bit dirty and scratched and the scans were terrible. But I can rescan them and I re-cleaned one of the strips that was the dirtiest. So yeah, avoid it if you don't know that the quality is good at whatever lab you go to. Not to say that there weren't other labs in Lebanon that do a higher quality. I know that there were, but the one I went to, it was okay, just not the best. And luckily, I just developed one of my roles that I didn't care about as much. Walked out the door after that quote. Yeah, I would do the same. How rough is T-Max 3200 grain? It's pretty rough. It's the roughest around, probably. Delta and T-Max, pretty rough grain. How did I shoot it? I didn't shoot any of the rolls I took on this trip. I think I only took one actually, but I've shot it in the past. I normally expose it at 1000, maybe 800. I don't shoot it at 3200. I find it comes out too underexposed, even with the recommended development time, which is actually for a 3200 push. I just find that it works better at 1000, maybe even 1600, but yeah, too grainy. Yeah. So if you want less grain, you want more detail, shoot it at 800. Yeah, cool. Got some people agreeing there. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's the summary of the trip and the cameras and the film and the X-rays and all that sort of stuff. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to let me know. I will probably hang out for a little bit longer as we approach the 1 hour mark. Probably won't go as far as 1 hour, but if you have any questions, let me know and I will probably start to catch up on making some content for the channel in the coming weeks. I want to do some more videos on stuff that I've had sitting around to review, including the negative supply ProRiser Mark II that you can kind of see back there. It's blurred out. I've got some other stuff from Negative Supply. I've got some films and gear that I've been meaning to talk about, but more importantly, I want to make some videos on the travels. I've taken a lot of video footage while traveling, and some of it was with the X100V, so I've got some talking stuff as well that I did, kind of vlogging throughout some of the trip. And once I get all the photos back, I will slowly start to make some videos. These type of videos are the hardest to make though, because they take the longest to edit and you have to compile different footage from different things and all the shots, but it'll come. I still have actually some other vlogs from shooting in Sydney that I've been meaning to finish and upload. Anything I would do differently for future travels? It's a good question, Assailor, actually. I probably would. I would take less cameras. So I took 3 cameras, Pentax 645N, Leica MA, and the Fuji X100V. Next time I would take 2. So whether it was, let's say, Pentax and the Leica and forget using the X100, or just take the Pentax and the X100, or Leica and X100, something like that. So I think 2 is enough. 3 is difficult, and I still don't regret taking 3 because I was trying to get stuff for YouTube content as well. If it wasn't for that, I probably would have only taken 2 cameras. But that's one of the takeaways. I would probably make sure that I have a backpack set up that is optimized for cameras. I took one that wasn't necessarily a camera bag. Maybe I would get at least some kind of camera insert for it. But yeah, optimize your daily gear, whether it's your backpack, comfortable shoes, all that sort of stuff. think about how you'll use your gear and how you'll transport it. Otherwise, it was all pretty good. I actually did consider that, but it could have been optimized even further. We know Sarah isn't real, so you couldn't put her on here. This feels like that sometimes. She was actually really keen on doing the live stream, and then she bailed last minute. Am I going to join up to Granary? Is this that new app that people are talking about? Probably not, to be honest. I can't be bothered. Usually, if it's something new and it's a whole new effort to start again. Maybe in the future, if it proves itself, because sometimes there's new apps like Glass, and number one, I use Android, so they weren't on Android. I couldn't join them if I wanted to. And then number two, they just kind of die in the water. And then if you go and start using it and no one ends up on there, what's the point? You end up juggling that and Instagram and whatever. I don't know. Probably not, but we'll see. If everything actually proves itself and it is better than Instagram and people do use it, yeah, I would join it. What's worth scanning film or editing videos? Editing videos. Yeah. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not as fun. Even scanning film can be fun because you get to see the shots, you get to balance the colors and kind of, finalize that creation process, which can be said about editing videos, but editing videos is way more time consuming and tedious. I'm not going to read this one out loud, but it's on the screen for you. Yeah, Brandon, that's a tough one. I don't know, you guys can judge, but I try not to make many kind of clickbait gear related videos, even though obviously to some degree you could say I do, whether it's consciously or not. Sometimes you just kind of follow whatever is trending and you make a video because it's what's on or on trend. But I try not to lean too much into that. If anything, the majority of what does well for my channel is not gear related stuff. It's videos that tend to be about a topic that might be a tutorial or how to do something, how to load film, how to use a point and shoot, tips and all that kind of stuff. That's what does well. If I have made gear reviews, sure, they can do well, especially if it's something that's trending or Leica or whatever. But then I love and enjoy using my Leica, so I reviewed it, for example, my M4, and eventually I'll do a video on my MA, but not because I know it's going to get views, but because I actually feel like talking about it. But yeah, it's tough because sometimes you want to do what people will watch, but I would say try and do what you feel genuinely connected to first and foremost, whether or not it's popular or is posed in a clickbaity manner. I try not to do that, like the clickbaity kind of titles. I mean, sure, maybe I've accidentally kind of done that or done it, lightly in the past, but not in a way that it's kind of complete bait and switch. I try not to do that. And, you tell me if that holds true on my past videos. You've seen JCH pushing it, but haven't heard much about it. Is this the new film the slide film, Fugu film? Because, yeah, what happened to that? No idea. I don't know if I missed your previous comment. Yeah. Oh, the Granary app. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just saw your new comment. But no, I haven't really seen much about the Granary app. I actually saw someone post on their story that there's 2 new photo sharing apps aimed at film photographers. One of them was Granary, one was something else. Also had the word grain in the title, I think, funny enough. But no idea. And on that topic, what happened to JCH Fujifilm 400? They announced it in March, but they haven't said anything about it. So if anyone knows, has heard anything, let me know, because I'm waiting on that. It was meant to have an update in June, July, as far as I heard or remember. Dave, mic setup sounds very clear. Yeah, thanks. I try to at least have good audio when it comes to doing these videos. I learnt early on with if you watch my first few videos on the channel, audio was terrible. And I realized that audio is a little bit more important than the video, especially with live streams and podcasts. Clickbait is delete channel material. Yeah. Joel, wish you could watch. You're working the night shift till 5 a.m. Sorry, man. That sucks. You love Rodinol. Nice. You know, I've never used Rodinol. I use HD110, but I should get a bottle of bottle of Rodinol. Keep it handy. Yeah, you can watch this back later on if you feel like it. You can that way you can just skip through and listen to the bits you want. So JCH said he's still working on the film. Yeah, I would imagine so. And it's probably going to take a long time to actually get it to the market. It's just nice to hear updates every now and then when you're excited about something. So Lucy Lumen was talking about both apps. Okay. Was that in one of her last videos or something? Because I don't know if I've seen all of her latest videos, especially while traveling. Yeah, we have been meaning to do a chat, though. Maybe for my channel as a live stream or something like that. They both have grain in the title, yeah. Do I know when Australia is going to get more Kodak film in? No idea. It's just kind of supply and demand, and it seems to be short all the time. So, yeah. You think that he did a Q&A and it was delayed? Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm not surprised with supply chain things at the moment. Have I tried Santa 1000? I have. Yeah, I actually have a video on the channel sharing my thoughts on the one roll that I shot. And if you're interested, you can search for that on my channel. Just search Santa Ray 1000. But you said Santa 100. Did they do a Santa 100? You're probably talking about the 1000. And have I checked out Minamata about Eugene Smith? No, I have it on my watch list. That's the one with, is it Johnny Depp or someone playing Eugene Smith? Yeah, I've had that on my watch list for a while, and I actually really want to watch it. Thanks for reminding me, actually. Has Australia opened up for foreign visitors yet? Yeah, they have. Pretty much. I think, yeah, it's open to, I think, everywhere. I'm not sure. It's just a matter of visa, depending where you're coming from. You know that New Zealand is still a bit spotty. Yeah, they were a little bit more strict, as far as I remember. So they have dropped a new Santa 100. I misread it as 1000 initially. I haven't tried the 100. No, that'd be cool. One thing about the Santa 1000, I found it was super thin after developing. So it was a little bit tricky in that sense, but no issue. It was still easy to scan and develop. You just have to be careful when loading it into your developing tank, not to bend it. But Santa Ray 100, I'm going to search that up. Looks cool. A lot of films to try. On this trip, I actually shot some of the ADOX color mission that was given to me by someone from Discord. So I'll share some results from that. If anyone is interested, I'm going to do a little bit of just a preview of some of the shots I got while on holiday from what I have developed so far and from the X100. And I still have a lot of shots to go through. But if you're interested, let me bring some up. I know you guys are seeing black at the moment because I'm trying to get Lightroom up and running. And just to bring up a few of the shots that I've been developing and scanning and importing lately, which you can see here. Yeah, so I've got some film, HP5, you know, some shots in Turkey, for example, on the 28mm with a Leica. There was that one roll that I mentioned having done the Fuji C200, which I rescanned. So I have that. Some cool shots from Turkey. Really happy with some of these. And yeah, NLP, self-scan. Is this everything that I previewed? I have some shots from the X100 as well. And I even have some from the Pentax 645, which I've posted on Instagram. So if you're not following me on my personal Instagram, you can check that out. I've started to post some of the shots that I've gotten back. These are from Greece, for example. The ones that I had developed in Italy from Kodak Gold 200, which was given to me by Kodak. And it's a beautiful film. Really happy with it. These scans were great from the PhotoFast lab in Italy. This was from the X100 in the Fuji X100V in Lebanon. Sorry, repeating myself there. And yeah, it was a great street camera. This is from Lebanon. This is from Lebanon as well. Used it at nighttime, which it was great for. And this is a beaten up old Peugeot in a cool night scene in, can't remember which part of Lebanon. I think it's Beirut. Yeah, again, from the same area, X100V. Really happy with the camera and the colors and some of these quick previews that I'm showing you on the screen right now. So yeah, a lot more to come, a lot to go through. This is just a few shots that I flagged. A lot of shots of cats in Turkey, which you may have seen here. So yeah, I'll be posting more content as I go through it all on Instagram, and I will save some, hopefully, to make a zine or something like that. I think I have enough content from at least Turkey, definitely from Turkey, to make a zine, and then even from some of the other destinations to make some printed work, because that's what it's all about. That's what I hope to do once I get all my shots together and slowly go through everything and do some selection and editing. So that should be fun if you're interested in seeing photos from these little travels that Sarah and I did. And check her page out. She's already started to get her photos developed in terms of the film she shot, because she only shot film, besides what she used her phone on, which was mostly video. And if you want to see some of Sarah's work, go to her Instagram page, which is this one here. So I'll add it to the description later if you don't feel like manually typing that in. It's her full name. And there's some videos and photos that she posted while we were traveling. That's me in Greece. And she's been doing these daily recap reels, which are really cool if you want to check them out. She wasn't able to keep up with them after about 5 or 6 days in, maybe 8 days, I can't remember. But she is meaning to catch up on them, and they're a great way to actually follow along with what we did from day to day during the holiday. And then obviously some photos to come as well. And my personal Instagram is this one. You can't see it all there, but it's also just my full name. And this one I think already is linked in the description. I'll make sure it is if it's not. And yeah, some photos that I've been posting from the trip from about here onwards. Still a lot to come. This one's from Turkey on the Pentax 645. It doesn't really show well on this mini browser. But yeah, that was Rolly Retro, I think. Some shots from the X100, some more Pentax stuff, Kodak Gold. So yeah, I'll stop rambling about that and catch up on the live chat before my camera battery dies soon. Santa Color 100 is apparently a Kodak Aero color. That's cool. Pretty open about what it is. I like it when companies do that, Just say it's whatever it is. We don't care. I mean, you still have your own exclusive version, but just be transparent about if it's an existing film stock. Just say it's that. Cine Still, just say it's Kodak 500T without a remjet, which eventually they did, but sometimes they're a bit too vague about it all. For example, Halide Supply recently released their versions of the cinema films, but they were just transparent. They just said that this is 250D without a remjet, and this is 500T without a remjet up front, even though they have their own branding on it. I don't mind that. That's cool, because at least you know what it is. So that's just my opinion on that. Because this Cine Still 400D, even though it looks like 250D, they're insisting that it's not. And I don't really know what to believe. How in the world do you keep film from curling during processing at home? I let it hang with a little film clip, a weighted film clip at the bottom. So it's clipped at the top and bottom, kind of hangs for a while, sometimes overnight, and it tends to come out flat unless it's a particularly aged or curly film. And in that case, I just flatten it out or reverse roll it if I really need to, which is rare. Grainy Days just released a video on Santa 100. Cool, I'll check it out. What great color on that 100 film. Yeah, which one was it? That was C200, I think you might have been talking about. Or might have been one of the digital shots. Yeah, this is what I mean. Apparently it's not 250, but it does look like it. I've shot a lot of 250 and it does look like it. Maybe it's a variation of it, but then just tell us it's a variation of it. Or tell us it's whatever, something else. Because, yeah, I've looked at the samples. I've got a lot of 250D that I've shot in the past, and it looks pretty much the same, but with halation. So I don't know. So if they tweak one tiny thing, obviously Kodak probably isn't going to make an entirely new 400 speed stock just for cine still. Maybe it's a tweaked version of 250 with some difference in one of the color layers. So then just say it's that. Maybe it is just that the remjet's removed. I don't know. I like transparency. But yeah, I think that's it from me. Enough rambling for one live stream. I hope everyone's well. Thanks for joining, guys. This is great. It's good to be back. And I'll try and get back on the schedule with doing these at least once a week. I try and do them on Sundays if my Sundays are free, which they normally are. But sometimes I'll just randomly do a live stream on whatever weekday or evening. So yeah, just press the bell or just check in manually if you want to keep up to date with live streams. Unfortunately, I don't schedule them very far in advance as much as I would like to. My schedule is too unpredictable most of the time, but I do endeavor to try and do that more often if I can. Schedule them like a day ahead if I can. But then even with today's, for example, it was meant to be with Sarah and then things changed. So that happens. Dave Nelson, you agree with as long as how it looks? Yeah. Still waiting for Cine Still 400D. Nice. You bought the early bird stock. I didn't buy any. I didn't need it. I had travels and enough film to go through. Is there a company that are producing color film other than Kodak, Fuji? Yeah, there's a few smaller companies, like ADOX and whatever. Even what Bellamy Hunt's doing. I think they made it without the remjet instead of removing it. And technically, since 250D isn't made without a remjet, they can get away with calling it a new film. 100% that's what I think. But I think it's shady to not just say that. I agree with you though, Analog Dreams. I think that's what enables them to say it's not 250D. But then I don't know, because they haven't been upfront. So this film Never Die called Umi 800. No idea what it is because they don't say. Yeah, that is 500T though. I think they kind of indirectly said it in their initial announcement of it, but then I'm not sure, can't remember. But I would bet money that that is just Kodak 500T as well without the remjet. So yeah, and also because Halide has the Space Cat version with their sister lab in Bangkok, and they're calling it Space Cat something, and they have openly just said it's 500T. At least that lets us, have that confirmation of what it is. Same with B2 Lab. They just have B2 packaged vision film, basically. All right, guys. Thanks for joining today. I hope you are all doing well and you joined for the next one. I will try and catch up on making videos soon. It probably will take me a while to start editing some stuff together now that my sleep is getting back to a normal schedule after the jet lag of the 8-9 hour difference or whatever it was. So yeah, what else? I think that's it. If you feel like supporting the channel, I've got links in the description to how you can do that. For example, buying a copy of the zine if you haven't already. I will be releasing new zines soon. There's one that I've been working on for a year or two now that I need to wait, I think, longer to shoot even more content for. I feel like I need more content. So if that's the case, I'll have to wait till the next Australian summer to get a bit more content. Otherwise, I will just release it with what I have by the end of the year. But it's looking like I'll need more content. And there's links to various things like the Buy Me a Coffee page if you're interested in donating to my coffee addiction with a few bucks. If you want, completely up to you. Yeah, what else? I think that's it. Thanks for joining. I hope you're all well again, and talk soon. Now I've lost my browser window. I can't end the stream. Thanks, guys. Yeah, thanks for joining, man. Sunrise Strip, it's awesome. Yeah, thanks, dude. Really appreciate the support. All right. All right, I found it. See you guys.